Please tell us your name and your location.
I grew up in the Ville area, which is North St. Louis, but now I live in South City, St. Louis.
Thank you for coming today and volunteering to be a truth teller for Ferguson Truth Initiative. We are inviting you to share your story with 30 minutes time frame allowed for each truth teller. Ms. Taylor, please tell us your story of direct or indirect experience with police violence, please.
Okay. My son, Cary Ball Jr., was my firstborn, and he was shot a total of 21 times by two St. Louis City police officers, Jason Chambers and Timothy Boyce. And less than 30 days later, we was making this video with St. Louis American, and you can watch it right here for yourselves.
Completing over 12 development education credits. And this was given to him. He was supposed to be in the ceremony that evening, May 1st, 2013, but instead he was getting buried.
So that's part of my police harassment right there, and involvement with the police. At first, when we only had a medical report paper from Cary, we hadn't had the autopsy yet. So the medical report did say that it was a total of 25 wounds in Cary's body. Some of those was accident injuries, but it was a total of 21 gunshots to Cary's body. Like they said on that night, Cary was coming home from work. He was actually finna drop a coworker off down at O'Fallon Place, and they stopped at the 7-Eleven down on 18th and Pine in the downtown area. Right there, one set of police officers decided to follow Cary for tinted windows. Well, in St. Louis, that's a no chase policy. You're not supposed to stop anybody for tinted windows. And Cary's car was registered, and the tint was a legal tint limit. Well, they followed Cary down into the area that you're seeing, and he did crash his car on 9th Street. He did injure himself in that accident, so he wasn't running fast. Yes, Cary did have a gun, and I think that's why we didn't get a lot of support as a family like we should have, because a lot of people got the wrong conclusion of Cary and him having this gun. No witnesses said that Cary pointed a gun at no police officers. After we did get the autopsy report and seeing those crater holes in the ground, they do match up with the way Cary was shot in his body. Cary's hands was in the surrendering position. On his left side of his body, he was shot in his wrist, his elbow. In the right side of his arms, he was shot a total of 7 times down. Up under here, 3 complete holes in his chest that had black circle margin rings around it, where witnesses said that they actually walked up on Cary, said something smart to him, and shot him 3 times. Cary was only standing 3 of those shots. The other 18 was on the ground. We went down there one day as a family, and we dropped quarters in those holes, and those holes are bigger than a quarter. After Cary was shot, it happened on a Wednesday night. My son Carlos discovered it from his sister seeing it on the news. All they said on the news was, police-involved shooting, 25-year-old male, and they showed Cary's car. Now, by the way, Cary's car was registered. He had license plates, everything. Well, that Wednesday night, it happened about like 9:30. He was pronounced dead at 10 by the chaplain. When Carlos called me that morning, he called me about like 6:30 that morning on a Thursday. He said, Ma, I said, yeah. He said, is Cary at home? I said, no, as a matter of fact, he's not. I said, and Carlos, I didn't sleep real good. I kept looking for him last night. So Carlos was like, Ma, I'm not trying to scare you, but turn on the news. So I turned on the news. When I turned on the news, I seen exactly what Carlos seen. 25-year-old male, police-involved shooting, and I seen his car, but we seen this guy laying on the ground in handcuffs. He didn't look familiar to us. So I called Cary's girlfriend, and I said, Jada, is Cary with you? She was like, no, Miss Toni, and something don't feel like right. We were supposed to have a date last night. And I was like, I thought I seen you sitting out there in my driveway. And she was like, yeah, I waited there till like 1 in the morning. I didn't want to disturb you. I was like, can you do me a favor? Can you go over his friend's house, one of his friends? I was like, that's the only person he would really be with. Cary was kind of a loner. I miss him so much. Once she went to his friend's house, Cary wasn't there. We knew something was wrong. So by this time, it's like 7:30. So I called the police station myself as a woman and as a mother because I wanted to know what they had did to my child, and I knew that was my child car. I wasn't crazy. So I called. Detective Bremen answered the phone. He said, ma'am, I just got to work. I don't have the reports from last night. Can you give me 10 minutes? I can call you right back. Well, he did. He called me back in less than 10 minutes. He did. So when he told me, he was like, ma'am, I still don't have no reports from last night. I said, well, me and my family is on our way down there. He said, well, if you're really on your way, call us first so you can give us preparations. What would he tell me that for if they didn't know that that was my child? They knew that was Cary in that morgue. What they was finna do is they was finna hide Cary from us. They didn't think nobody was gonna come looking for him because they never wanted nobody to know how many times they had shot Cary for no reason. Because from the time to me, the police officers was wrong because they racial profiled Cary, and I believe when they ran Cary license plate, they seen that he had been an ex-offender, and they thought he still was doing something he didn't have no business doing. That was not the case. Cary was a grown man this time. He had a full-time job and was a full-time college student. Cary had a productive future. Anybody that has a productive future is not going to point a gun at a police officer. I'm sorry. And you cannot get shot in those positions that Cary got shot in if I'm pointing at you. That's point blank and simple. So us, as a family, we get down there to the police station. It's about like 8 now, 8:15. Detective Bremen come down, but he got so much remorse on his face, like you could tell he really wanted to say, ma'am, I don't even know what to tell you. They done shot your child up. He was just looking at us like, he was just froze himself. So he say, guys, it's so early in the morning. Have y'all ate breakfast? Have y'all had coffee? I need 2 hours, 2 hours. He said, I need to do distinctive marks. So I looked at Carlos, and I'm like, Carlos, what is that? He was like, he talking about Cary tattoos, Ma. I'm like, oh, Lord have mercy. So I'm like, okay. We all leave. We go to the Hardee's in the downtown area. More families showing up, more families. So these 2 hours get by. It's 10 o'clock now. We go back. Nobody came downstairs to us. Nobody came to talk to us. Nobody called. So I got a text message on my phone from a friend. He said, call the morgue. The morgue has no choice but to tell you who they have in their morgue. I calls the morgue. The morgue tells me I can't come view Cary's body. They say, man, what I could do is I can give you a tentative report. They called off Cary's name, his social security number, and his date of birth. And then they asked me, did I have a funeral home? Well, right there I fainted. Because no, I didn't have a funeral home. I just found out this is my child. And what do you mean I can't see him? So that wasn't enough for his girlfriend. She ran out of that building and ran into the morgue. And this is what lets me know that God didn't have a part in this. When his girlfriend ran into that morgue, my mother's nickname was Baby Sister. So Cary had that tattoo on him. The person in the morgue couldn't pronounce it, but that's the first thing she said to his girlfriend when she walked in there. She said, you here for Cary Ball. He got a bossa tattoo, trying to say Basa. They hid Cary from me from the beginning to the end. Now, after reading all of Cary's paperwork, I did see that they found me. They knew I was his mother. They found me from when Cary was a victim of a drive-by shooting in 2008. He was at Bowen's Hospital. Cary was also The morgue was also informed by Detective Murphy to put Cary in the viewing window at 1 a.m. So if he was told to be put in the viewing window at 1 a.m., why wasn't I allowed to see him at 10 p.m.? Well, at 10 a.m., because these still all the morning hours, because they was finna hide my child. That's what they was finna do. They never wanted the city of St. Louis or the county or other states to know they put that many bullets in somebody's body. They didn't want nobody to know that. So it wasn't never nothing bad put out there on Cary. Only thing that was put out there was police involved shooting, victim had a gun, or victim pointed gun at police. It wasn't no dirt they can dig up on Cary, because Cary got in trouble one time when he was 17 and we lived in Florida, and I'm not bragging. That's just to say that he was on a road, on a path to doing something greater than wanting to be shot and killed in the streets like a dog. I'm not bragging about him. I'm just saying he had a brighter future. So I feel like they racial profile Cary. They traumatized their community because, as you heard in the video itself, 6-year-olds down there at that time is urinating on themselves every time they see the police. Now, how do we prepare that? She's 6. Where do we start at with her to get her to 25 to not be shot in the street? So yes, I do believe something different needs to be done. I do not like what has happened to so many people and their loved ones. When they kill our loved ones, this infects the entire family. And then they turn around, and when we stand up for our rights, they beat us. When I went to the internal affairs and tried to make that report against those police officers, they did not want my reports. But when I had that meeting at the NAACP with the chief of police, and he told me that my child got stopped for tinted windows, oh, now the internal affairs want to call me, run me down. They even offered to come to my house. Now, the police chief did involve the FBI. He sent Cary's case to the FBI. You know why? Because there was no gunpowder residue on Cary's body or clothing. That's because Cary didn't point a gun at nobody. Cary did not fire a gun at nobody. He laid that gun on the ground like those witnesses said, and he put his hands in the air like those witnesses said. And he didn't break a law when he went away from them in that car either, because that's the no chase policy. They broke the law because they should have never followed Cary. I'm very devastated by this. I'm still very devastated because it's steady continuing. And the more I travel, I'm steady meeting more and more families with these horrific stories. I did not know that in California, police officers could shoot victims with AR-15s, blowing people body parts off their body. No, this is terrible. I didn't even see my child again until the casket opened, the day of his funeral. Me and his father say we buried somebody that we didn't even know. We paid for a funeral that we didn't even know who we was burying. They autopsied him at that morgue. By the time the funeral home got him, he was a close friend to the family. He said, I'm not going to devastate y'all like that. He even picked a picture he wanted to go on Cary's obituary. He said, ma'am, your son didn't age. He went back. He said, so can I pick this picture to put on his obituary? Because this is what he looks like right now. I'm done.
Questions I want to ask you. That's so sad. Miss Taylor, did you get justice for your son?
No.
I gotta to say this one thing. We've met a lot of you mothers in the movement. We have compassion for y'all, and we love you guys.
Thank you. I love you guys too.
I just want to tell you that I love you.
I love you too.
And thank you for coming out.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Toni Taylor. Now we're going to hear from Sandra Bland's sister, Shanita Nedham.